I get asked lots of questions about our operational management of the solution we've got. Reliability, maintainability, questions like, is there any downtime, and how reliable are we, and how does it work? And some of those, of course, I do answer. But what I thought would be much better would be to get one of our experts in the room, effectively, to help answer some of those questions. So today, I'm delighted to be joined by someone who I've known, Tony, 10 years. How long is it since you've been with us? 10, 11 years, something like that. So I've known Tony for 11 years. Tony Jones, introduce yourself.
Hi there, Paul. Hi, everybody. So my name is Tony Jones. I head up a DevOps department delivering a cloud contact center service.
So thank you for that. And let's just start by the question, what keeps you up at night is, really actually these days considered a bit of a dim question. So I want to know what keeps you up at night. What I want to know is what interests you, what's top of mind, what things do you think about?
That's a good question. Customers, absolutely, front and center, customers and customer service, making sure that we optimize to the best possible service, a secure service for our customers, one which is tolerant to failure, expect and handle failure, and one which enables us to deliver innovation and get that into the hands of our customers.
So you mentioned highly available. How is that achieved?
Very much thinking about service in layers. So at all layers of the infrastructure, thinking about the work processing elements that need to be done and whether they are achieved in component sets or farms, but then thinking about, well, if the worst was to happen, what happens now? So then the layers on top of that, having processing locations, multiple of those. If then you had a problem in a location, then those work elements would be carried on by an alternate location. There might be some scaling that would need to happen to cope with demand, but that's absolutely fine. That's baked in. But then the next layer still, thinking about processing regions. And if you had locations that had problems, then the processing would be taken on by the next region and using replication to make sure that all of the customer data is there ready to take over. So very much thinking about layers through the infrastructure.
Okay. So you mentioned farms once there, and I live in the West Country. In fact, if the UK is quite farmy around here, but layers came up a lot. Tell me more about layers.
Yeah, absolutely. So layers are a mechanism for protecting customer service. I mentioned before that we should expect and handle failure, but very much in the design. So when we architect, thinking about how we ultimately can protect customer service, how we make sure that that resilience is baked in. And really what we're doing is thinking about the dependencies, mapping out those dependencies, and making sure that along the way there is tolerance and ensuring that our customer service is protected through those layers, but it starts very much in the design.
So a lot about layers and a lot of conversation there about maybe when things go wrong. Is that the only time layers are used?
You'd be surprised though, no. So yes, absolutely, we want to expect and handle failure. That is part of protecting customer service. But actually the modular design has another huge benefit, rotating infrastructure, making sure that we have a mechanism for housekeeping, patching, security updates. All of that is just a day-to-day job. And making that low friction, low cost means that we can rotate infrastructure, and very much those layers enable us to do that, such that all of the time from a customer service point of view, we can operate 24/7 with no downtime.
I'd like to know about practicing, because it sounds, an element of what you talked about sounds quite complex too. So how do the team know what to do, when there are those failure situations?
Very much in terms of testing, and that comes from a people perspective. So we will do wargaming, incident drill scenarios. we very much believe in learning, so sharing information. So if a team learns something, then that's shared with the rest of the organization through learning sessions. Videos, so really thinking all the way through about the processes to make sure that people are well informed, and really making sure that we practice. We run incident drill games, for argument's sake. That happens monthly. And what will happen there is there will be cards that are handed out. An engineer may take on a variety of roles. They may get something closer to home and actually take on an engineer role. Equally, they might be a support engineer, or they might take on the role of the customer. And now very much it helps them understand what it's like to be in those situations and gives them a much more well-rounded view. It's also a fantastic way for onboarding new staff. And it's equally a way of making sure people remain fresh in these situations. So all of that is about investment in people beyond just the technology.
In going through war gaming or instant gaming, do you actually ever come across something you think, blimey, actually, there's a hole in what we've got, and we need to fill that somehow? So do you learn from the games in themselves?
So certainly in terms of wargaming, the whole idea, especially as we've got innovation, maybe a new product that we're rolling out, the idea very much is you map out the dependencies and you step through it and you assume the worst is going to happen and how you protect service. So I would say in those wargaming scenarios, definitely that's the purpose of them. The incident drill games I spoke to you about, they very much are around taking a previous scenario, actually one that we know how to fix, but with the team members there, it may be new to them. But yes, we do have some gamification with it as well. So we will take it to extremes, and maybe then one of the engineers, maybe their power will go, their internet at home. So we have chaos cards and something that we would deal out during the course of the incident, which actually takes the incident to the next level, something which didn't happen. But we want to really test people to make sure that they really are able to think on their feet and capture those processes and make sure that they're documented as well. So yes, definitely both of those things happen as part of the processes that we run.
Do you find that this element, I don't know are you familiar with the 10,000 hour thing too, and you can become an expert if you do something over and over? I mean, is that part of it too, that just such regular practice means that when people are dealing with an incident, that even if what they're dealing with is then very new and you've never wargamed that people are kind of just still know what to do and how to handle even the unexpected? So there's my question. You're practicing for the almost expected failures in a way. You expect everything to fail, but then when something unexpected actually happens, do you find that the nature of the practice has prepared you well for that?
Yes, absolutely. We want people to be familiar with the process and really for this to be part of their DNA, so that if the unexpected happens, the processes and principles still apply. So new information comes to light. We want to gather that information, understand, prioritize the work which we think is going to make the most meaningful difference, apply that, really then understand what the feedback is. Actually, if we've been successful the first time, then what will happen there is we will have learned from that situation. But if it's not successful, we take the next one in the loop, and really we're working through those processes and principles that apply every time when we go around these feedback loops, really working through the detail and making sure that we learn from every stage.
I mean, it just sounds so impressive compared with where we were like 11 years ago when we started all this. And I think we could go on and on, which I don't actually want to do now. So for now, yeah, I learned a lot. I hope the audience learned a lot too. Thanks, Tony, for the great contribution.
Thank you, Paul.